So we're talking about rehabbing healing. Two common things that we see in healing are dogs that crab, so they come across their body, which also causes their butt to come out, and dogs that drift away from us and are too wide in their healing work. And we can call on three behaviors that we've already trained up until this point that are all incompatible with these two problems to help remedy them. The first is a reward placement to the outside, which causes the dog's energy to move outside of herself, which gives them less reason to come across our body. The second is a traversing exercise, or drifting, which can pull the dog that hangs wide into us. And also for the dog that has a tendency to move their butt out, we can exploit that a little bit, which allows us to lead into our third tool that we can use, which is also an incompatible behavior, which is a left turn. When I turn left into the dog, contingent that they have an understanding of rear end awareness, however you've built that, in this class we're using perches, I remind the dog that they have a butt. So by traversing, drawing them into me, if their butt comes out, I can shut off the front end of their body and just isolate the rear end, reminding them they got a back end. And this gives me a response to them later on in my training too when their butt comes out by turning into them and saying, remember, you've got a back end, swing it in. And what will happen over time is they'll come to expect it and keep their butt in more. So I'll demonstrate this with Andy, and again, this will help us remedy both dogs that are crabbing across our bodies or dogs that are wide in healing. So I'm traversing. If her back end comes up, I can just turn left into her and remind her that she's got one. Let's try that again. Good girl, mother pun. Ready? So I'm moving forward. I begin my traverse and left turn. Yes, good. And I can reward her there. Couché. Nice, mother. The reason this works is when I traverse, we see how much attention the dog is paying to their back end. They've got to operate from the front and the back. When I make the left turn in response to the butt coming off, I shut off the front end and just isolate the back end, which reminds them, hey, this is about the back end too. Remember to tuck it in. And again, remember it's an incompatible behavior. Through experience, if I do this a lot, the dog will start to pay more attention to their back end. They'll recognize and remember that it's there. Ultimately, as I evolve this, if my dog in my straight healing patterns ever starts to move their back end out, in response to that, I can make a left turn to remind them to tuck it in. So they'll start to keep it in anticipation of a left turn if it does come out. Oh, yeah, good girl. So it just gives me a bit of information that I can use with the dog if they're ever nice out of position to help them correct themselves. We'll traverse. Good girl. We'll do one more and I'll get it rewarded. She's behind the wee button. Good girl. We'll slow it down. Yes, good. And she did a great job there tucking her butt in. All right, and again, we're relying on incompatible behaviors to help us combat this forging and the dogs going wide. The reward placement sends their energy away from us instead of across us, which can sometimes cause these problems. The drifting challenges their back end awareness and allows us to add a left turn if they need some help isolating the back end and being reminded that it's there and that they should be paying attention to it.